EEMEDIA exclusive.
Hello guys, this is Sip to the Script, Young Seaka with another episode, and today we have a really special guest, our first female guest actually.
Hey.
It's for everybody that said that I wouldn't bring any girls on, can do it. The beautiful Rita Carter.
What's up, y'all? What's
How you doing
up,
today?
man? Thank you so much for having me.
Hey man.
I'm good. I'm very good.
Very important to have you today, just in terms of everything you've done, behind the scenes and how much you've been, uplifting Ottawa without people necessarily knowing, but you're putting a lot of work out here for the city. So I'm thanking you for pulling up, actually.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, for real.
Thank you for noticing, man. I love this city.
But could you let me know what you got me sipping on right now, please?
Ooh, it's just like some, ginger ale. Just ginger ale. Nothing else. Just
Ginger ale?
some Canada Dry.
Right? Are you sure?
Just some Canada Dry. We got Canada Dry in Appleton. It's Friday. I never promote, you know what I mean? I never promote alcohol or drug use. But you know what? It's about time. It's about time I just, you know what? That's what it is. That's what it is.
It's a Friday afternoon, It's happy hour. We had to get a couple shots in. Sorry if you guys are watching and not approving. Rita done gone dark, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
No, but honestly, let's get to the serious stuff, the serious matter, right?
Let's get it.
So, where are you from originally?
I am born and raised in Ottawa. My parents immigrated to Canada in the late 70s from Uganda, from East Africa. Shout out the Bugandans. So yeah, I consider myself Afro-Canadian. Yeah.
And honestly, living in Ottawa, you've been in the scene a bit longer than I've been, just in terms of the research that I've done. You know what I mean? You've been in the scene for how long? Would you say?
Over a decade.
Decade.
Oh yeah.
Wow. And
I've put in some work.
recently, before we start getting into the juicy stuff, just want to get kind of your input in terms of the scene, how far we came since you started this scene.
That's an interesting question. That's probably the first time I've ever been asked something like that. That's a great question. I'd say, when I got into the scene, it was a very, it was quite cliquey, I would say. I mean, the poets hung out with the poets, and the rappers hung out with the other rappers, the MCs, and
Right.
the dancers with it, But I find over time, people are starting to mix more. Not only the art, that's starting to be a more collaborative effort, I think. But I just think people are coming out more to different things. People are diversifying.
I mean,
their circles.
I feel like people are starting to understand the power in coming together. You know what I mean?
Exactly how important it is.
If you look at every movement, just in terms of, let's bring it a bit shorter in terms of comparison. If you look only in hip hop, everybody that was able to pop up in the digital era only had to come up as a city together. Everybody had to come up as a city. You look at Florida, you look at New York, you look at Miami, you look all these places that have really a big following and a big movement going on. They've all came up together.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So I feel like Ottawa is slowly but surely getting to the understanding that, that there's no other way than to put our heads together and trying to figure out what this is, So yeah, I'm happy that you were able to give that input, because I might have been able to see it, but not, you know what I mean? Because my time in this scene has not been as long.
Yeah, it's just a little new, a little
Exactly.
bit still.
I'm
That's
a newbie.
okay. That's okay. It doesn't matter, you know what I mean? I see you working hard, so I appreciate the work that you're doing.
No, I appreciate that.
And your whole team.
Yeah.
This is amazing, and it's just so great to see young people making moves towards their passion. I'm a huge supporter of that.
Appreciate that.
So
Appreciate that. All right, let's stop being so calm and collected. I want to know.
Oh, jeez. Wait.
I want to know, Miss Carter, how did you get into the music world? Because, by the time this comes out, your single will probably be out, wake up.
It will be.
Yeah. So
Tonight.
how did you come to making music, finding your sound, like just being the artist that you are, you know what I mean? How did that come together?
I've always played music since I was young. I got my first guitar when I was 9, and I just taught myself everything.
Yourself?
And how to write and everything, yeah. Like, I don't read music or anything. I just play by ear. And, of course, thank God I have that ability, obviously.
Rhythm is really in our blood, man.
Oh, yeah. Like, if you want to get into it, we could get into it, but I don't know if we got the time to get into it. But, yeah, so I was playing when I was young. And then, I went to performing arts. I went to Canterbury. Shout out Seabury. Went to Canterbury Performing Arts High School and was just surrounded by art all the time. And my parents supported, my family supported. And once I got to university and I started procrastinating from writing my papers, and I started writing, instead of writing papers, I was literally like,
yeah.
Can I swear? Am I allowed?
No, yeah. 100%. Nobody's cutting the check right now. We're on our own.
Good. I was just like, forget these papers. I'm going to write a song. And I just started like writing songs. And I did an open mic at Roosters. Roosters at Carleton U used to be up in Unicenter or whatever. I don't know where it is now. But I did an open mic, and it was like it was a contest. And I won. And then I was like, oh, maybe I should like do this a little more.
I'm nice.
And then I just kept, pushing from there.
And the passion just kind of grew.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
Grew and grew.
Stay in school, but no, honestly, I feel exactly like the same thing kind of happened with this podcast. It's just like a bunch of friends that just realized that something was missing, maybe in our lives or in the city, and we figured out that why not put it together, you know what I mean? The start might seem small, but just like you said, like when you realize that you have the potential to do something, it's like, why would you even stop yourself to doing that, you know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah.
So yeah, no, so you got into the music world around university, you know what I mean? You kind of understand who you are as an artist, and like, would you say that your style kind of changed like throughout the years and stuff like that with your music?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah? I mean, I've always been into, writing with my guitar. Like usually it starts with like a guitar riff, and so I'm really into like acoustic sounds and folk and R&B and soul and that type of stuff. But over the years, I'd say jamming with like so many artists, especially from Ottawa.
Yeah.
Different types of artists, because I'm a very open person. I've like taken on different styles, and it's just been a natural progression, like evolution. So yeah, artistically for sure, my music has changed over time, for sure.
Just matured and stuff, I guess.
Oh yeah, and I'm like a mom now too, so it's like I write about different stuff.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah, we could talk. Hey, I'm ready. I'm ready.
So,
I'll talk about it, whatever.
Oh, like you have a son, right?
Yeah, I have a son.
How old is he?
He's 4.
4 years old. Okay. And like, how do you find it like to balance both of them? You know what I mean? Like, because being an artist, but then also having to be a mom, I think that's a thing that's really like present in like, especially Black moms. You know what I mean? Like, it's like this identity thing where we're trying to figure out who we are, but also trying to like balance everything. And I can really speak of it for myself, being a man, but like being who you are and like having to have a son and balance who you are also as your own individuality. Like, how do you come to put all that together? Like,
I mean, I think, it's tough because, I don't think you ever really, for me, I'm still trying to figure it out. Like, he's 4 and I'm still trying to figure it out. Like, redefining myself as a mother, but I think what I had to do is I took time away from music to kind of like learn the other side of things, and then so that when I come back, I can better balance the two. I mean, it's definitely difficult, but I mean, anything that's difficult, like those are the best things.
Right.
So you just do it anyway, you know?
Is he like a big supporter of your music?
Oh my goodness, my son's my biggest fan.
I'm just waiting for that first video where I see him like bust moves and
Oh,
stuff.
I'm his biggest fan too. Like my son is like he's gonna get it.
Oh, word.
Oh
so
yeah.
he's in the music thing. Like that.
He's already like he's already like rapping, freestyling, playing drums. I used to play guitar over my belly while I was pregnant, so like he's already like used to those vibrations and those sounds and those like the rhythm.
No
plus
way.
he's a little East African boy,
Yeah,
so of course, like let's
so
be
the
real.
music is really like. Can we assess that in terms of just your dedication for the music? It's a full-time thing. Like,
I mean, yeah, it's full time, but I accept my reality and I understand that I'm in, I haven't figured out yet. Not that it's impossible, because I've seen a lot of my homies, a lot of my homegirls here, like do it in Ottawa. But my reality is that my son is here in Ottawa. His father's in Ottawa. So for now, this is where I am. He's just started school, and as he gets more independent, I can look at like other ventures. But for now, it's like I do need to have a 9 to 5 right now.
For sure.
I haven't figured out yet how to do it full time and be in a comfortable place in my lifestyle with him, right? Raising him. So, 9 to 5, got my 9 to 5, but the music is always my priority.
Yeah.
Like, it really doesn't matter what job I'm doing. I'm always
into the music.
Thinking, and sometimes I'm like doing a little bit of work. Like, you know what I mean? Doing a little work at my desk that's not maybe work related.
Exactly where it should be.
Well, you gotta, you know what I mean? Gotta get it how you live,
No, for sure. And in terms of the music, like, you know what I mean? When we're going to get to that a bit more and as the interview kind of goes through, but you've worked with a lot of, mediums in the city that try to put on artists that are primarily from the city, you know what I mean? So for people that would be in your situation, and more specifically women in your situation, like what would you tell them in terms of like balancing the music and everything together? Because it's not an easy, like just balancing being a mom is, I can't even imagine, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. So the fact that you were able to do that and be as talented as you are as an artist, you know what I mean?
Thank you so much.
Respect, for real. Be as talented as you are as an artist, and also, you know what I mean, trying to put on other people in the city. Like, what would you tell people that, or women that think exactly like you?
I mean, it's hard for me to answer that because I don't feel like I've made it to the top. Like, I'm here. You're down there. Like, But I would just say the most important thing about, like, balance in life and finding that balance in life is definitely just finding the God within you. Finding the God within you. Like, it's not, to me, it's not this.
But what do you mean, like, finding the God within you? Like, how would you describe that for people that don't, you know what I mean, don't,
Yeah, I would tell you. I'm gonna tell you. It's like, it's 2017. There's mad shit going on. I mean, so much. And with everything going on, if you can find that completely positive and like naturally positive voice within you, and if you can tap into that, and that's your intuition, like there can be many words for it, whatever it is, but if you can tap into that and listen to it and always follow that, it's not about following your heart, your head, your soul. It's your intuition. If you tap into that God in you, the most positive part of you, because to me that's what God represents, the most positive part of everybody, right? If you can tap into that and follow your purpose and follow your passion, whatever it is, then like there's no stopping you. The sky's the limit. So that's what I would tell. Any other women specifically that are trying to balance stuff. You gotta take the time for yourself to really discover who you really are, look in the mirror and like really look at yourself for real. Not like look to try to get a pic, you know what I mean? Like really look in the mirror and like see who you are and who you want to be, who you've been, who you want to be, and like, you know what I mean? And then that's when everything comes together.
No, I feel you, because just, and not to bring it, you know, back to me, or even just, back to me, but I feel like when you start doing something for yourself, but also something that could be positive for other people, that's where you feel the most, like, resistance. You know what I mean? Like, you try to do something as good as you can, and that's when, if you're on the right path, I don't know, that's what I always tell my friends. Like, if you're doing something and you're on the right path and you don't feel any resistance, something's wrong. Like, you need to feel like people trying to stop you. You need to feel like something's
obstacles and all that. Yeah,
because when you're doing good, like, it's gonna bring jealousy, and if it doesn't bring jealousy, it's gonna bring like people not maybe understanding what you're doing because it's so out of the norm. Maurice Moore came through for an interview, and he was talking about...
Shout out Maurice Moore, putting on for the city, man, with his light-skinned ass. Hey, boy.
He came through for an interview, and he was basically talking about how, like, Ottawa just in itself, because in terms of, you know, having a scene, you know what I mean? People aren't used to it, so we still have that small-minded mentality. You know what I mean? And that, I'm not gonna lie, that the interview really marked me. Like, a lot of the things that he said, you know what I mean? I went back and looked at it. So, because you've been here in the scene longer than I've been, like, and you said it, like, you know, it was more cliquey and stuff like that. Would you agree with that statement? Would you agree with the fact that, like, Ottawa has a small-minded mentality, not small, but small town mentality when it comes to, like, pushing the envelope?
I mean, no, not at all.
Right.
I think that because we're smaller, I mean, we are growing larger, but because we're smaller, we're kind of forced to, think out of the box a little bit more. I think that there are an insane amount of artists in the city. It's just, no one's popped yet. That's all it is, bro. That's all it is. Belly is like... That's great. Like, there's artists that have popped. Like, of course, I mean, shout out Night Lavelle. You know, if we're just talking about hip hop, but that's just even hip hop. Like, there's other artists. Tribe Called Red. Shout out Tribe Called Red. You know, Juno Award winners. You know, that indigenous, like, First Nations, like, Aboriginals doing it. You know what I mean? Like, people, and they're doing very different things. Mixing hip hop beats with throat singers.
But see,
you know?
that's the thing.
Like,
though. Like, when you look at the new emergence of music, I feel like this new wave just recently started repping the city. And it's no shock to Belly. Like, I love his music. I've been listening to his music since I'm a kid, you know what I mean? And, if not, like, he's really an inspiration for what I'm doing right now. And what I feel like this new emergence of music is. And for a very long time, I gotta give it up to him. He was repping the city. But there's people, like, from his generation, when they blew up, it's like, I forgot about the city, where I forgot where I came from. And they don't rep it as hard as they used to, you know what I mean? So, like, maybe, like, they are repping the city and, like, they popped. But in terms of Night Lavelle, like, I feel like right now, at the level that he is right now, he's, like, maybe, one of the only ones that really rep the city still like that?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I would definitely say that, and especially in that genre. Yeah, like, he's doing amazing things, but I mean, it's gonna come.
Right.
Like, it's gonna come, but we need, like, I just need to continue to put on for everybody, and push my music outside and come back, and, like, I just think that it's gonna happen, but it's gonna take time. We just need to be, like, patient with ourselves and, like, not, you know, because everybody's like, oh, like, you know, I want to be the one. I want to be the one. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to be the one. I'm going to be the one to do it. I'm going to be the one to do it. But at the end of the day, to me, if the music is not right, it's not going to pop at the end of the day.
Yeah.
The music has to be, if we're talking about music, that has to be timeless.
Yeah.
If it's not timeless.
You need to live to kind of allow the music to grow and mature.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, it's going to happen.
For sure.
It's going to happen, man. I'm telling you.
And so back to you, helping the scene and just being someone that's super pivotal in the city. A couple of
I love hearing these these adjectives people use.
Hey, listen,
Like
I gotta make it seem like I'm my degree is
super
being
pivotal.
used for something.
What degree? What is?
Criminology.
Okay, good for you.
Yeah.
So you went into my criminal background? I don't have a criminal background.
Before you came, you know what I mean? We'll have to talk about some things off the air.
Oh, jeez. I don't have any of that.
But, a few months ago, I went to a grant meeting, you know what I mean? Back talk. And I met a couple people that, you know what I mean, just had like-minded, aspirations as me. Trying to push the culture forward and do all this stuff for Ottawa, just in general. And I fell on this young lady that I will not name drop, but she introduced me to you, and that's how we actually ended up meeting and stuff, or introducing each other to each other.
Okay, yeah.
And she was telling me like the great things that you do, you know what I mean? Just so people know exactly what it is that you do, could you go through a couple of the roles that you do for the city?
That's a crazy,
I'm putting you on the spot right now.
I mean, if I know what you're talking about, then I won't name drop just out of respect,
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a positive thing.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna hit her up later on.
No,
the DM
for sure, yeah.
Hey, girl. Yes, queen. So we met at there was a youth leaders advisory council. There was a summit that was going on in the city.
Right.
Shout out Eldon Holder and his whole team at YLAC. I set up a booth. This was all volunteer based.
Right.
I have to be careful what I say too, because it's my job.
Big brother.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I set up a booth at that summit, and I was advertising, because my 9 to 5 is I work for RBC Blues Fest and City Folk. Shout out the biggest music festivals in the city. So I set up a booth to try to engage with youth, predominantly visible minority. I know we're trying to get away from using that term, but I mean, that's all I know for now.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to use for now. Visible minority youth with employment and volunteer opportunities. So that was something that I did there. And I just wanted to show a presence because I felt like I'm the only Black one in the office. I got extensions in now, but for a long time I've been with natural hair. And to me, it's a very important thing that I show my presence in the community to show young girls that haven't maybe got there yet with their inner self that I was talking about earlier. And just show them that, here's some opportunities that you can be a part of. And I look just like you. We can all do it. You know what I mean? Because it can be hard sometimes. I mean, especially being first generation Canadian. Sometimes you're trying to assimilate, but also you also want to hold on to your parents' culture too. Yeah. But you also want to
live,
just live, and you want to sleep over at your friend. Why not? I don't get it. Everybody does it. I don't get it. You know what I mean? So I just wanted,
You're gonna cry. Okay, so I'm 18 years old, right? And my friends are having a night out partying, they're drinking. I, up to this day, never had a sleepover in my life. I'm 18 years old, and I'm at my friend's house. It's kind of late. It's the first time I stay out. Just to say how I relate to what you're saying right now, And I fall asleep, and I wake up at 3 a.m. to my phone buzzing. I'm like, okay, pick up the phone. It's my mom just ripping me to shreds on the phone. Where are you at? I'm like, oh, Mom, listen, the bus, it wasn't running anymore. It's kind of late. I think I'm sleeping at my friend's house. No. I'm like, what do you mean no? I've called the cops.
She called the cops.
If you don't come home right now, I'll tell them to come pick you up wherever you are right now.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, Mom, you'll have to tell them to come pick me up. At this point, I was fed up. It was years of you know what I mean? And I love my mom, Shout out Mama Seaka, but I couldn't do it anymore. So I was like, no, I'm sleeping over at my friends tonight. And she was like,
you put your foot down. Oh, jeez.
I'll see you tomorrow morning.
Oh, jeez.
Bleep. So yeah, man, I'm telling you, like, just in terms of being young and, you know, still living with your parents that grew up with the mentality of, you know, where they came from, and also trying to establish yourself as a person, you know what I mean? I'm sure that must have been hard for you, like, especially with the music and everything, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, they did a bunch of sacrifices to come to Canada, and, you know, that's not, probably the music is probably not what they would have envisioned for you. So
no, but my parents are rare. I'm
So
telling
rare,
you, because
really?
they're like, I think because of my, like, especially like on my dad's side, like because of his upbringing, he's more like,
talk a bit about that actually, though. Like,
oh
how did he
man,
grow up?
oh man, we gonna get into it? What's the time? My parents, I mean, my dad, you know, he's from a village. He's from Masaka in Uganda. My mom's a little bit closer to the capital, to Kampala, and from Mutundwe, but it's still like at that time was a rural area.
Yeah.
And my dad, yeah, he grew up with, you know, his siblings. He had twin siblings, and then he had 3 others. And my grandfather, his dad, my grandmother passed away. We're not even going to get into that.
No,
that's
definitely
a whole
not.
other thing.
No.
But my grandfather then remarried, had more kids. There were a lot of kids, you know, and my father, you know, he went through some things. He went through some things, and you know, ended up being raised by his uncle, and he took his siblings with him, and it's just a lot. He was never able to have a guitar. That was one thing that was like something that has always stuck with me with my father, is that he was never able to have a guitar. His dad said that it was like, you know, they were saved. He said it was like devilish. It was devilish to play the, unless it's like church music.
Yeah.
So my dad has always been opposed.
Yeah.
Completely opposed. So he's like, when I asked for a guitar to join like the school band, I was like, I want to play guitar. Can I get a guitar? And he's like, absolutely.
Like 5 of them.
he got it right away, like the next day. You know what I mean? So he's always been super supportive. Always, because they didn't get to do exactly what they had wanted to do. All they want is for us to be able to fulfill our passions, no matter how, like. But at the same time, I'm the third born, and like I think, you know, as long as my sister was okay, my older brother is okay. By me, they're like, all right, like, you'll be fine. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
For sure. And
so yeah,
I just thought it was something important to bring up, just because, like, in terms of anyways my circles, you know what I mean. When I look at social media and just at the people that are trying to, you know, brand themselves as musician, the first thing that I see is like people of color. You know what I mean? Like people that are of minorities and stuff like that. So I thought that, even though other people that are watching, you know, shout out to everybody else that's watching, but the minorities that are watching and identifying with your story, I thought that it was important, just because, like how do we, you know, ever get out of like feeling like we're disappointing our parents, and you know what I mean, and finding that balance and still trying to, you know, soothe that inner man, like you said.
I mean,
you know
look, like, just, hey, you got African parent, like I just, hey. Straight up, I got my degree. I said, here you go. Now I'm gonna just do it. It's not gonna take away from your life.
No, definitely.
You know, and I took a long time to graduate too, like because I was taking a year off. I was going to do this. I went like on a tour at one point. Like I was like, oh, I don't know what I want to do with myself. Let me go find myself.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You know, that whole thing.
No, yeah, for sure.
So, like, yeah, but at the end of the day, that's something that no one can ever take away from you. So, I'm not trying to, like, you don't have to, but I'm just saying, if your parents are, like, they really, when there's kids that are dying to go to school, and they come from countries and cities and places where kids are dying to go to school, walking hours and hours to get to school, studying by candlelight.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta respect. You have to.
If
you have to
don't,
respect
it's
that.
Cool, but for those that feel like they have to, just
yeah. If you don't, it's cool. Like it's all love.
Yeah,
like at the end of the day. But I'm just saying, for me, that's what I did. I was like, hey, I'm gonna do this in your honor, almost.
Yeah.
And like, don't get me wrong, you learn a lot. And like when you walk across that stage, you feel like, like I had to put a lot of shit into this, but I did it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
True.
And and then you can go and do your own thing.
Your life,
like, you know?
No, but
it's okay.
This conversation was amazing. Like, I feel like I've learned a lot of things out of that conversation, especially, you know, being that you're our first female guest. So I kind of got that, you know, I might be a bit less savage from here on out. You know what I mean?
Oh, jeez. Whatever. No, but, I could. What do you mean? Me, I'm like.
But when it comes to this, the scene, you know what I mean, and the people that you've mentioned a couple of people that you've seen that have done things that caught your attention and stuff like that. So just in terms of where you feel like the city should still be going, like, do you have any direction where you feel like the city should take?
It's a good question. I mean, I don't have like the answer, like, you know, what direction should the city take, but I just think we should continue to unite and continue to like lift each other up.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's just common sense. Like, you put out positivity, then all that's going to come back is positivity. Yeah. So if we're all like seeing each other out, seeing people like yourself and your crew, and like you see me out and it's like all love always, and we're always trying to like link each other up, you know, with certain networks. Like, networking is huge.
Right.
And then we can start knocking on some doors and getting, you know, or have people knocking on our doors.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And getting bread and like moving up with it. You know what I mean? Like, straight up just stacking bundles.
No, I feel you.
Yeah, we just got to keep uniting. That's all. That's what we need to keep doing.
Right. No, I feel you on that. Before we let you go, Miss Carter, could we have a quick acapella?
Oh,
you know what I mean? Let us know, because you are a singer. You know, I brought you in because you're a musician. All
right. Let's spit something.
Okay.
Wake Up is out tonight, 11:59 p.m. I'm gonna spit a verse I wrote with a few people in the city. Aspects, you know, he has a little bit of writing on this.
Shout
out Billy Altador, Mr. OTT. He's got some writing on this. Shout out my bandmates, everybody on it, everyone on it. All right, here we go. Let me tell you what I see when I look outside my window. Many people suffering, no shelter to go when the end's low. It's been 4 weeks in the same clothes. John knows, but you still got soul. Hop on your soul train, let your soul glow right now, but don't let your guards down. I want to see you rise up. The devil just want to see you fall down. He be waiting on the sidelines. I can see him from the skyline, and he want to take me for a drive, but I got my own keys, I don't need a ride. He just want to see me dead. I'ma stay alive. Hope these words come out right. Let's move these mountains tonight. Let's spark the flame to the fire. I see the light in your eyes. I want to take you up higher, like the birds up in the sky. Soaring through the clouds, and I'm singing it loud, south away from them winter days. Some type of way, it makes me feel some type of way. When I see the kids in the street, I feel some type of way. Mother sends them on the corner, begging for some change. For another day.
Jeez! Okay, Acapella too. Yo, listen.
Okay.
Rita Carter, please, I want to thank you again for blessing my podcast with your presence. We'll definitely have to link up again very, very soon. Listen, guys, this was Sip to the Script with another episode. I'm your humble host, Seaka. Later.